Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with LoukProp. You see this pimple here? It's because I'm so stressed. Everybody's been asking me, will land prices continue on this upward trend? So today, we're going to be answering the question of how land sales are being done and will land prices continue on this upward trend in the next few years? Let's get into it. Now, before I answer the question of land price trend, let's see how developers get land first. Basically, in two ways. Number one, government land sales, and number two, through en bloc. So let's look at government land sales first. Now for government land sales, there's basically two lists, the reserve list and the confirmed list. So for the confirmed list, basically the government will announce the launch date and also the tender deadline for the land parcels inside this list. However, for the reserve list, what's different is that these parcels of lands are not confirmed yet until a developer activates any one of those parcels of land, and basically government will inform the developer of the reserve price. If the developer is able to meet the reserve price or even above the reserve price, this parcel of land will be moved to the confirmed list. In this case, the developers will put in their tender and bid for this piece of land as well, and at the very least, the developer that activated this land from the government will have to put in an offer at or above the reserve price. So now what the developer will do is they'll do feasibility studies before putting in their bids. So feasibility studies include land costs, construction costs, marketing costs, miscellaneous costs like ABSD, show flag costs, so on and so forth, to see what is the right price for them to bid for this piece of land. Once that is done, all the developers will put in their bids on the tender deadline, tender close deadline, and usually on the same day itself, government would announce which developer has won the piece of land. Now what's interesting is that some parcels in Singapore may need special proposals or approvals for them to be sold to developers, right? For example, white sites, for example, sites meant for integrated developments. Some of this may go through the dual envelope system. So what is a dual envelope system? Basically, one envelope is the tender bid price, one envelope is the design concept and proposal from the developers. So what will happen is government will open the first envelope first to see the designs, and they will actually shortlist certain developers with good concept designs for the piece of land. From those approved designs, they will then open the second envelope, to see what's the tender bid price that they put in. Usually the land will go to the highest bid price. In some special cases, government, when they see a proposal that they really like, may even ask the developer if they are willing to push up their bid price up to the highest bidder. But that's for special purposes and special designs that they absolutely love and would like it to be approved. Now for en bloc sales, it's a bit different from government land sales. Basically, first step is that the project that wants to get themselves en bloc will first form the Collective Sale Committee, which is called CSC. This committee is made up of residents and may even include the MCST of the project. After the CSC is formed, they have about 1 year to do the job, which includes appointing the law firm, appointing the marketing agent, and also appointing the valuer for the project, which will be all done through voting from the CSC side. Now, the job of a marketing agent is especially important because they will be the ones that will be calculating the reserve price, calculating the distribution of the profits according to different units. And a lot of people think that it's just based on share value. It's not just based on share value, it's based on size as well. It's based on the valuation of the particular unit as well. They'll probably do up an elevation chart with all the units and also the value that you'll be getting from the en bloc sale. And this will be set up into a proposal to send to the CSC for approval. Now, once CSC approves it, next step is to get signatures. So again, the profit distribution to all the units will be adjusted here and there. Now, for projects that are under 10 years old, they need to not only get 80%, but at least 90% of the residents' signatures to approve this entire en bloc sale. So once the requisite amount of signatures are gotten, the CSC will inform the Strata Titles Board for approval, and once approval is gotten, the marketing agent will now launch the piece of land for sale, right? So they also announce the tender closing date, deadline, and also the reserve price to the developers, and pitch it to developers. If any developers like it, they want to make an offer, They have to do it before the tender closing date, and usually what will happen is the land will then go to the highest bidder through a closed bidding system. So unlike the government land sales, if at the closing of tender, the highest bidder still hasn't met the reserve price, they can still go under negotiation with the developers involved to come to a mutual decision to sell at that price if the CSD chooses to. So once a conclusion is gotten and both sides agree to a price, you must then submit again to the Strata Titles Board, and then the land will be awarded to the developer. So before the land sales is awarded, a certain timeline is actually given to minority residents who chose not to do the en bloc to see if they want to put in an appeal against the sale. If there are no objections, then the land will be awarded to the developer, and the 5 years timeline actually starts from that point onwards. So why are land sales always selling at higher and higher prices? Now think about this. For en bloc sales, they always take reference for their own value based on the recent government land sales that have been selling inside that area as well. And as mentioned, any government land sale is activated by the developer, and it is only sold when the price meets at or above the reserve price set by the government. Therefore, land is only sold when demand is shown. And there will always be inherent demand for land in Singapore because of two reasons. Number one, because Singapore is land scarce. We all know this. Now, the second reason being, developers will always want to be land banking so that they can sustain their business moving forward, because the way they make money is to buy empty pieces of land or en bloc, right? Build it up for either rental or for sales. So they will always be hungry for land. Now we can think about this in another way as well, right? Today, if let's say for example you're an owner of a property, the only reason you would sell below market value or sell cheaper and cheaper is if number one, this is a distressed sale. Number two, you are unable to service the loan anymore and you have no holding power on it. Now think about this in the sense of the government, right? They are the biggest seller in Singapore. Right? They own the full value of the land, they have no loans on it. They have the highest holding power in Singapore as well. So there's really no impetus for them to sell the land parcels below market value, right? They'll always aim to sell at or above market value, and if they can't, they can just hold on to it. There have been cases, in fact, whereby URA rejected land bids because the bids were too low. In 2011, URA actually rejected a joint offer from UOL Group and Singland for a commercial land parcel in Paya Lebar because they felt that the $529 million offer was too low. It was actually 35% lower than the Loh Keng Huat-led consortium's offer for a site nearby, which was awarded in April that same year. So this is our opinion on why land prices are moving upwards and how it will continue in the next few years. If you find the content useful, please like the video, share the video, and click here to subscribe. This is Louis Pimper signing off. Bye!